Greetings, dear brothers and sisters, dear sons and daughters in the light. I am Sovereign Lord Emmanuel the Great, and it is always so beautiful to have people here who desire to listen to the greatest truths coming to your plane at this time. I, Sovereign Lord Emmanuel the Great, am greatly blessing all who desire to listen, for they are truly the ones who are searching for the greater truths in the heavens. And I, Sovereign Lord Emmanuel the Great, always promised I would return. And I have returned, now with my great channel, Suzanna Maria Emmanuel, and I will not work with any other channel, as she is my designated channel. And that means that she has been created for the great purpose to bring the truth from the greatest divine realms through to the people. I, Sovereign Lord Emmanuel the Great, am helping people to become more mature on their greatest spiritual path, to help them find their freedom, to help them understand truth from not truth, to help them to come within their awakened heart, and to hear the voice being spoken from within. And this is such a difficult task for so many people, to hear the voice of within. How, Sovereign Lord Emmanuel the Great, can we hear the greater voice within our hearts being spoken? I, Sovereign Lord Emmanuel the Great, say, go inside of the quietness of your spaces and learn to listen to the greater messages within. For the messages may be as quiet as the whispers, like the winds, or they may be as loud as the trumpet, with a greater voice. It is all unique to you. However it comes to you, it is beautiful, for you are beautiful, and it is about you learning your greatest spiritual journey. How precious is it to you to find the greater truth within. This is also what the people were asked with my channel Jesus 2,000 years ago. Jesus uttered these words, how precious is it to you to find your truth within? For truth is found in everything. In the grass, in the sea, in the clouds, within yourself, within the people. For wherever you are, truth is. But the question here is, what is your truth? And the people back then were greatly puzzled. Teach us, Jesus. Teach us to see truth in everything. For we can't see anything but what is in front of us. You say truth is found in the grass, but we can't see truth in the grass. You say truth is found in the clouds, but we can't see truth in the clouds. You say truth is found in the sea, but we can't see truth in the sea. So Jesus had to bring the following words through from my being. Truth is always found in the greatest spaces of the quietness. Learn not to see what you think is in front of you, but learn to look within. For within all things there is truth. for all things are part of the great oneness. You say you can't see truth in the grass, yet the grass is a part of you. You say you can't see truth in the sea, and yet how could the sea exist if you weren't here? For the sea only exists because you believe it is. And thus the sea becomes your reality. But does the sea truly exist? Or is it because you can see the sea that you believe it exists? For truth lies within the sea. And the people were greatly puzzled. A lot of them went, "Pah, we don't need to know all that. You're twisting our minds, Jesus. You come up with all these riddles and things." And so many of them went, and only a few stayed. And they asked Jesus, "So please tell us then, what do you mean by that? For we want to know more." And Jesus was only concerned about those who truly wanted truth. And the rest who didn't want truth, he didn't bother with too much. For they always went on their way. They were always testing out to see what Jesus had to say next. But there were only a few who were the true truth seekers. So Jesus said these following words, which apply to you today too. When you know truth, you will see the divine within you. For the grass is not separate to you. The clouds are not separate to you either. For they are part of the great divine, just like you are. You are part of all that is. Like I am part of the great divine, so you are too. But I, as Jesus, he stated, am not really here, for I am working in union with the great Father. And you are also part of the great Father. And in the greatest spaces, we exist in the love. And here, all things are not so. And when we find the love within us more, dear brother, he said, that's when you will see your divinity within you. For divinity shines within all things that are love. Grass is love for all the animals and for our eyes. The sea is love, for it gives us so much food and enjoyment. Thus, when you see the love within the grass and within the sea, it is all part of the great divine. And so we see the love of the grass and the sea and the clouds, because it all is part of divine. And when you see love within you, you will see how you are part of divine too. For you are created with the same force as the trees, the grass, and the sea, and the clouds. This was a very important lesson for the people back then, as they were always taught that they were no good and that they had to listen to their religious leaders and their great governments. And so they always longed to find another path. What is the higher path? How can we learn love within? How can we understand what truth is and what not? And the religious leaders didn't talk to the people like this. They always stated how much more they needed to do Do more. Uphold the laws. You must do this. You must do that. And constantly they were bombarded with what they must do. And so when they listened to Jesus, they found shelter in a spiritual way because they learned about the Greater One and how much love he was. Whereas with their religious leaders, they only learned about the God of judgment. They didn't learn about the God of love or the great Lord of love or anything that had to do with divine. They only learned about punishment and judgment if they did not uphold the greater laws. So these teachings were so vital in the days of Jesus. So why am I mentioning it to you? Because you too are on a greater path of learning to see divine in everything. So many people take everything for granted. How many people look at a tree as divine, or the grass as divine, or the sea as divine? People don't look at all things as divine. Instead, they pollute it, and they don't care about nature. But in truth is, all things are divine, including your sacred bodies, for they are part of divine too. And when you learn to love your sacred body, you become closer to all of divine. And when you hold the sea sacred, and the trees sacred, and the grass sacred, you are closer to divine. Go and discover truth for yourself and see it is so. When you feel love reflecting within all things, you know you have found that part of divine. Go and meditate upon this, and go and search for your own truth in all things. And then you will find too that divine is very strong within you. And the more you learn to love self, the more you will work in a union with the great divine. For all things are part of divine. Greetings, I am Sovereign Lord Emmanuel the Great.
Greetings.